Get ready to take the helm as a salvage ship captain on the treacherous high seas with Salvage Hidden Treasures on Kickstarter now. And today, to talk to us a little bit more about it, is Alex Rogers, Molly Gardner, and Aaron Grove, the creators. Welcome to the show, all of you.
Thank you very much.
All crowded around the camera in one location. It's good to have you here. Who wants to go first and tell us all about Salvage Hidden Treasures and what this game is?
Molly, would you like to?
Well, firstly, I'll say that we haven't got one of our creators here with us, which is Alita, who couldn't be with us today. So we've got a jack-o'-lantern representing.
That's Alita. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
I'm sure she'll be pleased to know that she is represented by a jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah, I don't know if that'll go down as a compliment, actually, but it was meant as one.
Okay.
Yes. So, Salvage and Treasures. It is where to start. It's a 2 to 4 player game. It is very exciting. It's a turn-based game. Oh, that's a really big question when you've actually said what is Salvage and Treasures.
We basically created a strategy game, like a strategy board game, and we live in. I don't know if you sort of know, but we live in Plymouth in England, which is kind of known as.
The Ocean City.
Ocean City.
Yeah.
Nice.
So naturally, we were sort of very inspired to do something with boats in the ocean, and so we put together this strategy board game where you will navigate around the oceans looking for long lost hidden treasure.
Yeah, I think we've really tried to play with an idea of a card game where the cards actually create your map and your play area.
Yes.
It's quite nice to have that and sort of immersive ocean that you can play in.
Right.
So the board is the tiles create the board, which is really good fun.
So give us a brief overview of the actual gameplay. How does each round go about?
Yep. Okay. Yeah. So you'll start your turn off collecting your income, your money, and it's a round based game. So you have like 16 rounds. So you'll collect your money. You'll have an option to trade, to buy more boats, stuff like that. And then you'll jump in. You'll move your boats to a new location. You'll plunder stuff from the sea by discovering things, or you might take that out of the sea by paying a salvage cost. And there's always the opportunity as well to trade cards with other people, so treasures you have. And then the play will proceed to the left as usual, and then it'll start again. Yeah. And the more you get to the end, the closer to the 16th round you get, the more you're worrying about collecting your treasure, because that's the thing that's going to win you the game. Your money value doesn't count for anything. So as long as you have the big treasure value items, you're winning. So
it's better to get rid of all your money as much as you can by the end of the game. Spend it as much as you can.
Which is what we've sort of modeled our lives around.
Right? Yes, exactly.
You don't need to keep any money.
That's right.
Yeah, and then to sort of add in a little twist with it, all of these treasures, well, not all of them, but a good few of them, they all have individual little rules which will change up the course of the gameplay. So it might be that so your boats can only hold a certain amount of weight, but then it might be that one of the items gives you a little bit of extra weight, or makes it a bit harder for someone else. So there's a lot of sort of building up different strategies between how some of the cards play together.
Twists and turns.
Nice.
I think we describe it as it's what I really like about the game, and what makes it so replayable in my opinion is just how you never know how really it's going to go. You know, we joke because I win pretty much every game of Salvage. I'm pretty much the queen, to be honest, of Salvage and Treasures. But it really, you may have a strategy going in, but because of the event tiles and things like that, you never really know how it's going to go. And so you've got to really mix good strategy with risk management, which doesn't sound very fun when you put it like that.
Sure.
But I promise it is really good fun.
So what's the big origin story for this game? Who thought of this idea and how did it come together originally?
That was me, actually.
Can I tell the story?
Yeah, go on.
So I'll tell this from a perspective of how my day went. So Alex was at work. Will you get in trouble for me telling this story?
No.
Okay. He doesn't work there anymore. But so he rang me on his lunch break and said, "Molly, I think I've come up with a board game." And I said, okay, sounds cool. You can tell me about it when you get home. And then he came home and he had literally made Salvage hidden treasures in the day. Like he had all these little paper prototypes. He made these little. We used coins at first for the boat meeple.
Okay.
But we basically Alex came home and had a nearly working game, and so we were like, okay. Started playing it. I helped refine all the rules, and we kind of played it until it made sense, I guess. Play tested it, wrote loads of events together, and it was really good fun. And then Aaron and Alita, big board game people, like they've got collections to rival your guys. I can see in the background. But
Getting there.
getting there. And we were like, Aaron and Alita, Alex having fun with this project that he kind of dreamed up over a lunch break, or is this actually got some legs, as it were? Sea legs.
I know it's not as it probably there could be better origin stories, but realistically, I just dreamt the game up whilst eating a sandwich and watching the boats by the harbour.
So let me get this straight. You actually created the game while at work.
Sort of, yes. I wasn't very busy in that job.
Obviously, that's great.
Yeah,
now
literally an entire concept in was it just one afternoon, or is it several days of thinking through it at work?
More or less one afternoon. I kind of came up with the idea of how it was going to work, the idea of paying money to sort of turn over these treasure cards and then seeing what they were and then collecting those. And it definitely didn't work perfectly the first time we played it. It was definitely played and sort of went, oh, well, this hasn't worked at all. We need to keep changing things. But I mean, since day one, quite a few of the same treasure cards and some of the same roles and mechanics have all been in place from the same thing that I dreamt up over maybe 2-3 hours.
From that initial phone call of, I've got this idea for a game, explained it, to 3 hours later coming home with excitedly with, it didn't have any of the illustrations, obviously and it was just paper cutouts, but we were like, wow.
That's
he
awesome.
was like, what did you do today? I was like, well, I didn't make a board game.
Right? That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, talking about the gameplay, are there any of sort of take that mechanics in order to sort of hinder your opponents?
Yeah. So we've obviously play tested it a lot, and especially at the start, when we would maybe branch out to more of our friends or go to play testing groups, some of them were described as a bit harsh. We've toned it down a teeny bit, but there are still quite a bit of take that moments, which we kind of like, actually. It's sort of like even at the end you could be dead last, and if you still got to have a good strategy in mind, but you can kind of claw it back by saying, right, I've got this UFO.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick up your treasure, and now I'm in the lead, sort of thing.
He's done that so many times.
We quite like the competitive element of it. I think when I was growing up and played board games, and the idea, I think, with my family, and I think Molly, you probably had the same thing, but the idea of sort of saying, oh, there's a cooperative board game, shall we play that, would have been met with, well then how do I win?
How do I win?
How do I?
And it would be about winning, hands down winning. And so actually some of the cruel moments of Salvage are despite leaving some playtesters a little bit irked by the idea of having lost to a cruel twist of fate, they're actually one of the things that I kind of really love about the game, that it can be cruel, but there is definitely a strategy to it that you can sort of overcome that just about.
I think our colleague Alita put it really brilliantly once. She was like, the best kind of games are the ones that make you hate the people you love.
Yes.
So what are some of your...
Just throw the table afterwards. There's not much point.
Yeah, what are some of your favorite cards that you can play against your opponents? Which ones have had the best reaction when you've dropped that card down on somebody?
It's got to be. I think the piece of 8 is kind of like almost the holy grail. So there are 8 of them, and each time you collect one, your total will go up exponentially.
Oh.
So if you have 1, it's worth 300.
300.
And then the other next one, it would be 300 plus 300 times by the amount you have.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
So yeah, so yeah, the more you get, it starts getting out of control. So it's kind of like a risk. It's like, right, I'm going to go after these piece of eights, but you have no idea if they're going to show up in that game. You could end up with enough to win the game, or you could have focused on it too much and not gone after the actual bigger treasure value.
Right.
I think that's definitely the one where people have been like, oh, I want to collect these, and they really get like, it gets into their head and like, I have to get that piece of eight.
Have to get it.
And they're trying to trade with someone like, I'll give you this 3,000 thing for your piece of eight.
I'll give you my soul.
Yeah. I'll do the dishes for a week.
So other than trying to collect all the pieces of eight, what is the most valuable treasure in the game, and what's the worst event that could happen?
Ooh, those are good questions.
Okay, so the most valuable in the game is the Trident of Poseidon.
Oh.
And I believe that one is worth 3,500. So that one doesn't have any strings attached either, which
apart from its weight.
nice. Which is, aside from the fact that it takes up quite a lot of your ship's capacity. But that's the most valued treasure. Also one of the first ones I dreamt up as well. So that's
Okay.
nice that it stayed in there. In terms of worst events, probably the pirate attack.
Oh, pirate! Yeah, that one sucks. That's basically you have to drop one of your one of your treasures.
There's a shark attack as well,
Yeah.
which is pretty bad.
I think
That one sucks.
There's one called explosives.
Oh, that sucks too.
And you can get rid of some treasure. Yeah, that's quite bad. But the thing is, you then have to shuffle that into another space in the board. So even though you've just exploded your ship or whatever, you've then got a chance to maybe shuffle it into a deck closer to an opponent.
Oh.
And then when they go to explore that tile or that stack, they obviously run the risk of picking up the same explosion.
It sounds like Molly thinks a lot of the events really suck.
But I also think that they are excellent because they suck. They suck for everyone.
Right.
So my favorite card is the Flying Saucer. So you've discovered a flying saucer at the bottom of the ocean, and obviously it has magical, supernatural tendencies.
As flying saucers tend to have, yes.
Absolutely.
Standard.
So the alien, I guess, helps in this situation where basically, I think Aaron has beat me so many times with having a flying saucer and has kept it to his chest, and then at the very, very last moment has been like, boom, and then won the game by using it. So yeah, I think that's probably one of my favorite cards. Yeah, you feel so bad. Yeah.
Of course you do.
So
But yeah,
during
that's one of my favorites.
during your playtesting that you guys have been doing, what are some of your favorite stories? You know, table flipping moments that you guys have had. Take that. Dropping that card. What are some of your favorite stories that you guys have had so far going through the game?
I think one of the best things is the fact that I don't know if I've ever won a game of Salvage and Treasure.
Wow. It's your game, it's your baby, and you've never won.
Yeah, never.
He's really bad at it.
We played it so many times. All different kind of, we could be really tired, or maybe had one too many.
Get drunk.
Never won.
Never won.
No, even again playing against people at
Have
playtest
never played it
events and
before,
Yeah.
and Alex
conventions.
is.
We played against some children, and
Yeah.
they beat me.
Oh, come on.
I think that was probably a weird one for me and Aaron.
Yeah.
We were at a convention. It was called not GridCon, wasn't it?
It was called Ting. Yeah.
So it's like a mid-season convention
Okay.
out of a circuit, and me and Aaron were playtesting, and this little kid, he was what, 8?
About
8 years old, and his dad, and he was like this gaming whiz, like he was obviously very talented, and he came in and he was just talking.
There's a lot of energy.
Lot of energy, and he picked up the Trident of Poseidon, and then was like, well, I'm not going to do anything else, and we were like, what? There's like 12 turns left, you're not doing anything? He was like, no, why would I can win with this.
And we were like, well, we'll see.
We'll see about that, Sonny Jim.
But
and then he
ended up winning.
Oh my gosh.
He really rubbed it in our faces.
really
Like,
rubbed it.
ha! Suck it! And
like
I'm
jumped up and down, and we were like, oh, Well, that is a strategy, I suppose.
Yeah.
Like, I've
Oh, man.
got this treasure. Why bother doing anything else?
Right? And he
So,
still won against Aaron.
Yeah.
You got
Fight
Or
over
Alex.
the
Or Alex, actually, because Alex has never won, right?
No, I
Yeah,
just-
it doesn't win.
You just
Alex,
tweak the rules, so you know that you get some sort of special creator rule that you can drop something. Have a card that's in your back pocket that you're allowed to bring out whenever you want.
The creator's card.
That's right.
Play it.
You could do like when the Pokemon movie came out and everyone got like a Mewtwo shiny card. Alex
Yeah.
could have his own version of like an absolute Kingmaker card.
That's
that
right.
you-
True. I could invent something
You
to
could
help me
invent
win.
something, but
And I bet it would still backfire.
I'd still beat him every time.
So let's talk about the Kickstarter. So the Kickstarter is happening right now, and do you want to talk about any stretch goals you're planning for the game?
Yeah.
We've actually got props because we're excited about it. So as Aaron said, like piece of 8 is people get pretty intense about the piece of 8. So do you mind if I show
Yeah,
you?
absolutely, please.
These sort of things are these are our kind of pledge and reward tiers.
Okay.
Rather than stretch goals in a minute.
Oh,
So ready?
oh my gosh, that is so cool!
So that's a piece of 8.
That is
There are-
absolutely
Wow, you just have to hope Jack
fantastic.
Sparrow doesn't try to come and get it.
Yeah, exactly.
So weirdly enough, that we're only going to make 8 of these. So yeah, that's kind of the reward at the moment.
Yeah, that's like
capped
the
at 8.
Top
Wow.
tier one.
Top tier get you.
Um,
And in terms of stretch goals, we've got a few little ideas which should be on there, which are so there's things like some printed inlays, some engraved meeple,
Printed bags as well.
printed bags.
So they come with plain cotton bags, but it'd be quite nice to have a bit of artwork on there.
Nice,
So
awesome.
this is our first Kickstarter. Well, this is our first game that we're putting out. So we're kind of a lot of these kind of things we're sort of making up as we go along a little bit and just sort of trying to
That's
sort of
right.
do the best that we can with
Yeah,
inventing these
We're
things.
backing other Kickstarters, obviously. We're really involved in the board game community anyway, and trying other people's games and buying games. So yeah, we've kind of, I don't know, I guess copied a lot of stuff.
It's all a
So
learning
that's
process
cool.
for sure.
Yeah, if people like that, let's do that.
Yeah, we've taken
Yes.
inspiration from other people's Kickstarters because
Good.
people
we
are
won't
so
tell you who.
talented. Like, you see one of those games come on and you're like, this looks really cool. Wait for the Kickstarter to launch and it's funded within a minute or something.
Right? Oh, there's been some great
There's
ones.
so
Yeah.
much. It's so exciting to be part of those projects when you've backed it and it's like, yes.
Yes.
Like,
Just
so
watching
cool.
that number go up.
Yeah.
So once you guys are finished your Kickstarter, once your number has shot way past that goal number, where can people find the game after the Kickstarter is done?
That's a good question.
Good question.
It kind of depends on how well the Kickstarter does as we go
course,
through.
yeah.
So if we massively exceed our expectations, which of course we're going to, the first thing is we're gonna fly to the Caribbean and pour some mojitos and do that.
We're gonna do some salvaging
Yeah.
and try and find Pablo Escobar's hidden gold or something.
Find the
Whatever's
the
left
real
from
pieces
that,
of 8.
I think if we do very well, we will sort of have overs on it, and we're kind of staunchly staying very independent as little games publisher. And I think probably the way that we're going to approach that is we're going to set up our own sort of online store to have these kind of things available that way. We've thought about going down providing to retailers a little bit, as the way that we've kind of done things is to try and keep things margins in such a way that we're able to offer the game kind of at a lower price as we can.
Yeah.
Right.
But it doesn't leave a great deal of room for the retailer side. But as our first game, we kind of weren't too bothered about that. We're kind of more focusing on that, just providing something really, really cool for fans of board games.
Right.
I
Do you
just
have
wanna-
any? Sorry, go ahead.
I say we've got a few scenarios
Yeah.
plotted out. Like if we reach this, then actually maybe we'll go with this manufacturer, and then we'll be able to offer retail stores a price that they will actually buy stock in. And
Do you
Yeah.
have ideas for the future? Do you want to be able to expand on it, or do you want to just move on to newer games?
Yes.
Aaron, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, project number 2 is underway.
Awesome.
Obviously, most 98% of our time is on Salvage and getting this done. But yeah, behind the scenes, we've got a jungle exploration game on the way. It's like a tile laying game where you're exploring the jungle, and you'll be trying to collect talismans from ancient temples and stuff like that. Yeah, there's a lot of really cool mechanics going on in there.
It's it's really cool, and from a design perspective, Salvage is very
minimal.
It's beautiful because it's so minimalist.
Right.
It's gorgeous to look at, but it's intentionally designed very as a minimalistic design sort of thing. But the jungle game is what we're calling it. Working title, the jungle game, is we're going a lot bigger with it, aren't we? We're doing a lot more colours and a lot.
Nice.
It's nice to do something very different. So we did kind of toy with the idea, looked at the idea of doing things kind of simple and minimalist and keeping the same kind of style. But actually, we kind of want to just do lots of big colourful things next time around. And and I think that's kind of that'll be our focus for Project 2. And in terms of Salvage, I guess if it goes really, really well, then Salvage Hidden Treasures might get a repress at some point.
That would be cool.
Yeah, we have little ideas on where that can go. There's an expansion pack available with on the Kickstarter.
Okay, good.
Bounties of the Abyss.
Yeah, Bounties of the Abyss.
Nice.
So that gains you 16 additional tiles and 3 new purple.
3 purple
meeples.
boats.
And there is actually a second expansion pack in the works, but not one that we're releasing with this Kickstarter. So that might be its own little Kickstarter campaign.
Awesome. Okay. Awesome. So the campaign is going on right now. So if you want to get that second expansion, make sure you go and back Salvage Hidden Treasures. Alex, Molly, Aaron, thank you so much for joining us and telling us all about your game.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Thank you so much.
So you can
hold up the game.
So thank you very much. We are the team of Ocean City Games, and we've been here talking about Salvage Hidden Treasures, which you can back on Kickstarter now. And thank you very much to OMG Nexus for having us. Please subscribe to them. Link is here.
Link is below.
Ish. There.